Hey everyone, Kukasa here, back on the update for PSO2 NGS. This time we're celebrating the start of the 11th anniversary for PSO2 as a whole. So 11 years of this game, which is a very long time, and with that, a bunch of new things got added. So different quests, a whole bunch of tickets, free items, and so much more that we'll go through here. But let's start this off with talking about the seasonal event, the 11th anniversary one. So this is the typical kind of thing where they do every other month, where there's a seasonal event where you get seasonal points. But they do it a little bit differently this time. So we have Jiandi as a seasonal point exchange shop, which has some items inside. But the only way to get points is actually in the Aleo region right now. You can't get it anywhere else. And doing a limited time quest that we'll talk about later. What I mean by this is that you can't go to, say, Retem Allnoth, where a lot of people farm seasonal points, because the enemies there are not seasonal enemies this time around. Only those in the Aleo zones are. Now, though, let's talk about the seasonal point shop. This can be found in any of the different cities with Jandy here, who is wearing a Lilipan costume, which, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's just a creature from base game PSO2, which are actually invading for this seasonal event in the Aleo region right now, which you can find kind of like in packs like the Rappies are. I don't know if they have anything special to drop when you kill them, but I'll let you guys know in the future if I find anything like that. But let's look at this shop here that she has. You can exchange your seasonal points for any of these different items here. The top ones being like 11th anniversary special scratch tickets. That's for a certain special scratch for this event that we'll get into later. A build part for the Anova flag or anniversary flag. Star Gem ring, some motions, star gems, which that's really nice. Regular special scratch tickets. But then a new weapon, the Revolcoat series. So this is actually really strong for the game right now because it's pre-upgraded to almost max right now with the plus 60, level 6 potential, and pretty good augments here. For the potential, it has potency plus 26%, critical hit rate plus 10%, and damage resistance plus 10%. So that's a good all-rounder. I would say that's just a little bit under the Gun Blaze weapon series in terms of DPS, but this has that damage resistance, so it makes it a little bit tankier of a weapon, and also it doesn't have like that penalty where if you get hit, you'll lose the crit rate. For the augments that come pre-attached to this weapon series, we have the Sezin 11 blah blah whatever seasonal augment on here. Basically, when you're facing the seasonal enemies of this 11th anniversary, you get extra bonuses, 10% potency, 25% critical hit rate, and 30% damage resistance, really nice. But do keep in mind that it's only for those seasonal enemies, and when this anniversary event goes away, this will be basically completely useless, so just keep that in mind. We basically just want to replace that if you're going to continue using this weapon. But then we have a Rowdy Soul 4, which is a good soul augment, Alts Credit 4, Mastery 4, and Ale Domina, which are all good options, except for like the Ale Domina, I would say you probably want to replace that almost immediately if you're going to use this. But everything else is pretty solid, where you don't really need to replace it, but you can. One more thing with these weapons in the shop here is they come pre-limit broken, which is huge, so you don't need the Arms Refiner 1s and 2s to limit break it to go to plus 70. This already does that, so you just need the Gold Prim Sword 2s to enhance it up to that amount, which is really nice. Yeah, I would highly recommend using this weapon series if you don't have a plus 70 weapon already, and also even if you do, because this, from what I've seen, drops quite often with a Fixa and a high Fixa at that. So this can actually be more powerful than your Neos Astrians, which don't really have any Fixa or a very low Fixa, or Gunblaze just the same. Moving on through the rest of the shop, though, we have some armors down below, the Quality Armor, Vios, and the Eptes. Eptes being the better of the three because it's higher level. But yeah, with these, it's the same kind of deal where they come pre-limit broken to 70, so you can get that extra augment slot pretty much right away when you plus this to plus 61. So that's very nice, and this comes with Aegis Soul 4, Trippable, Ultra Credit 4, Mastery 4, and the Ale Domina. Basically, all those are good except for the Trippable and the Ale Domina. I'd probably replace both of those because they're kind of lower on the potency side of things. And for the rest of the shop, it's just like a whole bunch of different materials that you can grab, like the Blizzardium Infernium, Aegis Integra, the Defi Phase 2 capsules if you want to do the Dual Quest Phase 2, some other capsules down here, Mastery 4, which is very good. The Gigas 4s, very nice. Dreadkeeper 4, and some Alpha Reactors and Augmentation Success Rate on the bottom. That's everything to that shop for now, though. There'll probably be an update later into the event, maybe like 2 weeks from now or so. But Jandy will also give you a limited time task to investigate the Lillipans to give you some more seasonal points. I'm not sure if there's like a cosmetic at the end yet because I haven't finished it myself. But there's other things that you can do to get more materials and more seasonal points, kind of just going along with the seasonal event, and then some weekly tasks as well as a daily. The next thing with the event, though, we have the limited time quest Nazun's Big Quiz Part 1. So with that, you answer like 6 questions going through this quest with a mob in between and then a boss at the end. I think it's a Herzig variant boss, which is kind of like specialized for that quest. And in that, it has different kinds of rewards. So there isn't actually like too much with it. It can give the Tasa series, but I think it's still insanely rare. And give those 11th anniversary special scratch tickets, as well as those phase 2 defies, which I've seen you get at least one every single time. Then you get some like other whatever augments inside. You can get the gold Prim 2s, I believe, in there, and some other armor and weapons. But then for the guaranteed rewards, we have 30,000 seasonal points and 3 of each of the Photon Chunk 2s. But this varies based on the clear results. So if you get like an S rank, A rank, etc., it's going to change the amount that you get up to that point. And this is dependent on the questions you answer correctly within the quest. So if you answer all 6 correctly, you get an S rank and get all of these guaranteed. But if you get an A rank, it's like lower, and then B rank, it's even lower than that. All the way down to 7,500 points if you answer everything incorrectly. I tested this out a little bit, and it looks like this is the only stuff that varies. The drops are just kind of like their own separate thing based on RNG or some other factor. But for the questions, you can actually go to the ARX Visiphone website, and there's a special page here where you can actually get the answers for all of those questions in a huge list with like yes or no here, those who pass by, multiple choice, etc. So if you don't know it, you can find it here, but you have to be quick about it because each question you only have a certain amount of time. You might want to expand like all of these, and maybe you can like control F and then search. So like you can do Tector for one of these, if you need the Tector question or like force, something like that, dependent on the question that is presented in front of you. If you want the link to this page, I'll put it somewhere down below. But for this quest, overall, I think I like it. It's definitely different from the other LTQs that we've had in the past, and it's a nice change of pace, I guess I would say. And also with the variety of questions, there's a good amount, so it doesn't feel like you're doing the same thing every single time. But I know if you spam this enough, you will get some of the same questions, so you will exhaust the list at some point. Moving on, we have that PSO2 11th special scratch I mentioned a couple of times to get those tickets from this quest or the seasonal shop, and then you can spend them in here. This is a whole bunch of NGS spec items from base game. So Hitsuji is a new one, Enga, and the Lillipan. But there's also some from last year's 10th anniversary from Persona as well as Matoi. All this stuff is like pretty good, I would say. I definitely like some of these camos here, like the katana, as well as this Zanesis Angajima. I believe this is from episode 4 as well with the World Tree. But yeah, all this stuff is just like throwbacks to a base game, as well as some music discs inside, accessories, emotes, poses, stamps, a whole bunch of different stuff. There's also a new kind of cosmetic here, a backdrop. So this used to be just like unlockables, but now you can actually use this as a cosmetic gotten from here. And these just apply to your ARX ID. So you consume those, and then go to personal, ARX ID, and then edit. And then it's the backdrop, so you can apply here, this backdrop setting. So just anything with those. Usually you unlock them from getting titles, a certain amount of title points. But now I guess they're going to be adding them as cosmetics that you can consume. And for the rest of this scratch, there's some portable holograms that you can use and place around, but also some build parts which you can put into your creative spaces, like different posters from back in the past, as well as items from like the Lillipans here. While on the topic of scratch tickets, let's take a look at the rest of them that got added. So we have the Halpha Revival July 23. This encompasses a ton of items from the previous SG scratches. So this includes the Retem ones, Cavarus, and I believe Stia, and a whole bunch more, with a giant list that you can pull from. So if you're missing any of the items from the past, you can pull on this one for SG, then get some bonus items out of it, which are just basic, nothing too much here. But there's also a 10 a day free SG scratch tied to this for the first week of this event. So every time you log in this week, you can get this 10. and then hopefully you get some items that you're missing out on, or you can use it for free SG badges in the exchange shop. This is in addition to the regular daily free SG ticket. Definitely make use of this. Then for the AC Scratch, we have Designer Dreams July 23. And inside, there's items from last year's item design contests, which were made by players, and includes good stuff, I think. So this animal suit, which is kind of cute, made outfits for both male and female, cast parts, which the male one's like a wolf, and the other's like a doll for the female. I don't even know what to exactly call it. So there's that, and then also a chicken parka for type 2, which is also pretty good. So good outfits there, and then there's the usual motions, so like Star Riding, which reminds me of Kirby. I think already on Twitter I've seen people make Kirby outfits and they're riding on them. There's Idle Cute, Shell Bed emotes, there's the portable holograms, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. Next up, we have a new urgent quest, Remnants of Ambition, which is a permanent addition to the game, where we face Venogia Vera inside Lucille, or the floating island. This is tit for tat that same boss in Chapter 5 of the story, where you face it in the same area, just with other players, because it's an urgent quest now. But with this, it kind of feels like Am's Caveris, where it's a faster paced kind of boss. You got to be careful and make sure you're countering a lot or dodging. But with this, there wasn't anything like too special, and it's just kind of like a mid-range kind of an urgent quest in terms of fun, at least for me. But with this, the rewards, let's take a look at those. So this is very similar to like Dark Falls Aegis or Dark Falls Interception, where it can give the Tasa series, it gives Gold Prim 2s, and can give Ajax armor, all of this kind of stuff. Whole bunch of Soul 3s and 4s in the quest, but no specific Soul 3s or 4s. Like, it doesn't have its own soul that it can give. It can also give Arms Refiners, Photon Chunk 2s, as well as a Neos Justinian Almaty color variant. That is very rare. For the guaranteed rewards, there's basically nothing, only 10,000 Maseta, so no guaranteed Soul 4 like those other quests. So I would say, I don't know, like, this is a faster quest, so this only takes, like, on average, probably about, like, 8 minutes for most people. When I did this at first, it took me, like, 15 minutes, but I think I was with a slower group, and the time after was, like, 10 minutes, so maybe somewhere around there is where it lies. But I would say this is, like, an alternative to doing Dark Falls stuff, but the Dark Falls quests do give a little bit more in terms of reward if you really care about it. To gain access to this quest, it's similar to Dark Falls Aegis or the Battle of Halpha Lake, where you need a battle power of 3413 and be around level 75. So just end game content. And this shows up in the Caveris region as an urgent quest, so there isn't any spot for Lucille, so that's why they do that. And it doesn't take up a spot for those Dark Falls ones that shows up in Alio. Then for one more thing with this urgent quest, for the first couple of weeks of it being out, it'll be the only one available in the Caveris region, so definitely get a chance to check it out. But now for the rest of this is mainly campaigns and keywords. The first one being a 11th anniversary keyword gift, which gives all of these items, which got posted on Twitter, which that one is PSO2 underscore 11th underscore anniv period. And make sure to have that period at the end there. And when you type that into in-game chat, you'll receive all those items, and you have until August 1st to do so. Then we have the triple luxury campaign. So this includes a few different things, only a couple starting right away. So we have that 10 a day free SG scratch we already talked about. That'll be available for the first week. And then we have the use the salon to your heart's content campaign. So you can just go into the salon and do any kind of changes that you want for free without needing that salon pass. And then also in that, as long as you log in for the first week and then the one after, you get some end color change passes to change the colors of your different outfits. This last thing here is something that starts next week, so I won't go too much into it, but you'll be able to get free AC scratch tickets next week for the 11th anniversary memories, so make sure to log in next week, and that lasts until August 1st. But then there's a login bonus during this month, where each day that you kind of log in up to 14 days, you get these various items, so weapon camos, stamps, photon chunks, as well as 100 star gems at the end. Then we'll be getting a boost throughout the month of July, with only one available right away, with that one being drop item preset skill rate plus 110%, and that lasts until August 1st. So what this means is just more fixes on the gear that drops from any of the content in the game. The other boosts aren't mentioned yet, but they'll be updated at a later date. And then for the last kind of campaign on this page, there's a creative space showcase campaign. So you can show off your creative spaces on Twitter with the hashtag cspace_showcase campaign. And then during this period, you'll be entered in to maybe receive 1,000 star gems and 3 color change passes. There is something to note about this, however, is that you gotta be careful with what you create. They specifically say using items that were distributed in collaborations with non-SEGA titles like build parts and portable holograms are strictly prohibited. So the ones that just came out with the Ghost in the Shell, do not use it for this campaign, so just make sure you do that. Then for the last couple of things, there's a vocals for instrumental song survey results. So this was a while back where there was a survey to choose a song to get vocals for the Sympathy 2023 concert. And now we're getting the music disc for that thing that we selected, Unfathomable Darkness vocal version. So if you log in during this period, you'll get that for free. And for the last thing that I have for you guys is another keyword by David here, which is Hail the Lilipan Overlords. This gives you some star gems and some rare drop rate boosters. This will be available for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you have a great time with this 11th anniversary, as there's definitely more to come. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.